Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and the whole speed gaming community, good evening and welcome to Link to the Past Randomizer League Season 3. We've got a great match for you tonight between the Bomb Squad and Pug Trio, featuring runners you're probably familiar with. I'm Drossi, I'm here with Brewers fan JP. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. This is my return to commentary here, so good to get back on here and good to watch a race with these two. Or these four, I guess. These two teams, these four racers.
Yeah, and the Bomb Squad in particular, the last time we saw them was back when they were named Team We're Bad at Team Names, and your team was knocking them out of the playoffs in Season 2.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're definitely a tough one. I mean, I'm willing to take anything away from their team. I mean, even though they did, I think we did sweep them in the playoffs, but I mean, I remember earlier in the season, they split against us. So I mean, they still are a good team. So, and I mean, they're just as strong with fcoughlin joining them this season.
Yeah, that's an interesting change because fcoughlin, also known as Fred, is better known for playing Final Fantasy 1. I think he has some speed records in that, and he's the author of the Zelda 1 randomizer. And he's just really versatile here. He is an ALTTPR. And of course, on Pug Trio, we have Andy and Fouton, another team that left the playoffs actually surprisingly early last year, and I'm sure is eager to go farther this season.
Yeah, I remember seeing them as an early out last year, and that did surprise me a little bit. So there's probably a little bit of revenge on their mind this year, a little bit of redemption maybe.
Yeah, they actually won, and then after the bye round, left in the next one. But we are off, and I missed what was in Link's house and what was in Sanctuary.
We had 3 bombs in Link's house and a small key in Sanctuary.
Well, the 3 bombs will be nice to get us started.
Berries on the tier 1 tree pull.
Small key could be useful if we get an early glove. We can go backwards through the back of escape.
I like the houlihan start that Fred's doing here. Just because in this mode you tend to get less rupees, so having that infusion of rupees to start is good. Looked like a
Yeah, just like finding those bombs off the bat is nice.
It looked like a bottle in the lumberjack.
Well, let's hope we don't need that, because if there's something on Sick Kid and the other 3 bottles are locked behind it, that would be pretty horrible. Looked like bombs on Floating Island, like Hylia Island there. So yeah, Fred's in fact taking some of that houlihan money and using it to buy bombs.
That's also a smart way to use your money early. It also lets him diverge a little bit. He's going to go do South Shores. Rick's going to go into Kakariko. Blue rupees from the crab is also a little nice. Gets you a few rupees early.
Yeah, you definitely want bottle vendor money before you go to Kakariko.
Yeah, and Rick confirms it's a bottle at Lumberjack. Likely will not need that if, as you said, if we need that, just throw this into one of the worst seeds out there.
Well, we had a seed earlier today where GT Big Chest was required, and it's hard to imagine getting too much worse than that.
Oh, yeah.
Which actually brings us into another thing, as you see at the bottom middle of your screen. This isn't all dungeons, so the runners will need to collect 3 pendants, 7 crystals, and beat Aga twice before they can fight Ganon.
Yeah, so a lot to do in this seed. And starting early, we haven't seen any real items yet. Nothing. I'm only 3 minutes in, though.
Yeah, what's in back of well here? And Fred, meanwhile, is going for mini Moldorm already.
There's a hammer. That's our first find.
That is a very good find.
Blue mail, a shovel. Oh, there's a bow on Fouton's side. And
And there's... Yeah. So Andy and Fouton have a nice division of labor there because now they switch places and they each know which chests to open on the other side.
Yeah. And you don't undersell that blue mail find that Fred found, just because in this mode you tend to get less hearts. So armor upgrades gain significance.
Yeah, often we'll see runners on their first row of hearts because if their partner finds a heart, they're probably not going to go out of the way to get it.
And not unless it's on their path. And even then, not all these runners will share where the heart locations are.
Yeah, like, you know, if there had been a full heart in Cackwell, probably your partner finds it and tells you that, oh, while you're in Cackwell getting the hammer, grab this full heart as well. But you don't go, like, way out of your way.
So Andy with that bow heading straight to Eastern makes a lot of sense. Fouton heading can probably do the back of Escape, or the front of Escape. But the key can actually do all of Escape.
That looked like an intentional death on Fred's part, and I'm wondering why he did that rather than a save and quit.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because they've long since patched that thing where there was a long delay on save and quit. You don't need to worry about that anymore.
Fred's going to check this shovel right away. Never mind, he's walking right by it. Might have just been a thought where he forgot he had the shovel.
Yeah, it's not often you have it this early, but we've seen a few races already this week where the shovel has had progression on it, so definitely, hopefully he remembers about it soon and checks it. And Andy, meanwhile, has taken that early bow as a sign that he should be going to Eastern. Seems like a good plan.
Do have some info on our tracker. Eastern is a pendant.
And Desert's the green pendant, so most of our crystals are in the Dark World today.
Rick is going to join Andy in Eastern. Yep. Early bow, you like to just do Eastern right away if you have to. 4 hearts, green mail, without a sword to guide you is a little rough, but it's doable.
Oh, and, well, there's our logical light progression, so Armos Knights is now in logic.
Yep, you are correct. All of Eastern is now in logic except for the vanilla big key chest.
Yeah, so I guess if the big key is vanilla, then Armos Knights are not in logic.
That's actually a bit of a relief because that room with the 2 Armos statues you got to get the key in is pretty brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, no, finding the enemy, killing it, not letting the popos get in the way when you can't see anything. It's tough.
And I think the big key here is vanilla, since Andy didn't open the big chest.
So for all that, Armos Knights aren't in logic.
Now this Dark Room Andy's doing right now is actually not too bad. You can usually get through this pretty easily. This is one of the easier Dark Rooms to learn. Fouton's in a completely different Dark Room in the back of Escape and took a death. Now, knowing where that fire rod is, yeah, he's gonna leave and come back later with that fire rod, most likely.
Yeah. Now, the interesting question is, given that the fire rod puts the entire back of Escape in logic, is there something important in the back of escape. Might there be a glove there and we won't be able to get... And that's the only way to get to it because we can't drop in without the glove.
It's a legit possibility, especially with that early small key. I think Fred is going back to the south shore. He's going to do a fake flipper here. He might have been trying to set this up earlier when he took that death, but at the same time, he didn't have the money at that point, but now he does have the money for Zora.
Yeah, and with that Moon Pearl, he can also check Waterfall Cave while fake flippering.
John's actually going to pick up the shield here. Interesting.
that was an interesting choice. You don't see advanced runners doing that very often.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, yeah, if he gets to the fire shield, that does provide some nice protection. The small shield, not so much. Andy, the first one to a boss.
Right. Really, the thing is, you know, most runners don't mind the small shield or the fire shield. What they mind is the mirror shield and the lag it introduces. So if Fouton happens to now find the other two shield upgrades, he'll be stuck with mirror.
Well, Andy gets through Armos pretty easily.
And Fouton gets through Mini Moldorm Cave on his last bomb.
And he had no arrows for backup either. He did have a hammer, though. And cape in the waterfall. So let's see what we got in the Zora area. Some more money in the ledge, but...
What's Fouton trying to harvest here? Bombs, I guess? He's hammering away at every enemy he can get his hands on.
He needs a bomb for Ice Rod Cave.
Oh, right. That would do it.
Now, there is a rock that has a bomb, but he doesn't have a glove to lift it.
And we're getting a Zora check at 10 minutes. Ah, there are bombs.
You know, I think the sad thing for Fouton is that chest in Link's house had 3 bombs. I don't think he ever opened it.
Yeah, well, neither did Fred, as we just saw. But then again, Fred has a full set of bombs.
Fouton might have had a full set of bombs, too. I wasn't paying attention at that point. But Andy's going to go through the back of Escape to see what's back here. And the nice thing about killing Armos first is that he has a full complement of magic to do this as well. Hey, there's a glove.
Oh, see, that early shovel was important.
Work a little off on the fast kill for Armos, but gets him down. He'll be at the first one with a dungeon down on his side. So this trip through the back of Escape is not necessary. Both teams are going to find out what's back here at about the same time.
And with that key from Sanctuary, Fred will probably go to Dark Cross this way.
And, yeah, that's not a very impressive back of Escape.
Nope, not using the key.
So, we're kind of running out of spots here to check. I think the only thing we haven't seen that's still in logic is Agina? Regina?
Yeah, because officially Death Mountain isn't in logic without the lamp or the flute.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh no, Glove and Hammer and Moon Pearl, we have Dark World access.
Oh, you're right.
Snuck up on us, but I think that's where Fred's going.
Yep, that's exactly what he's going for. So, the Bomb Squad gets Dark World access first. But speaking of Agina, we're about to find out what's there.
So Rick will actually have a fire rod in the Dark World when he grabs his glove shortly, so he'll be able to do Skull Woods. But I guess, oh, here's our map check. The last pendant in Misery Mire, there was a 5-6 in Swamp, and I didn't see where the other 5-6 was.
Yeah, while Rick will have the fire rod, he doesn't have a sword. In fact, none of our runners have a sword, so Skull Woods is not completable yet. It does give you one extra check, but you can't finish it.
Okay, tracker's showing that Evestown is the other 5-6.
Rick, meanwhile, is going to start the Dark World around Hype Cave. So got a nice division of labor going on here. Now,
yeah, Hype Cave's a nice... Oh, I was just going to say, Hype Cave's a nice fast check if your Dark World access is via Glove and Hammer.
Now, oh, there's our other glove. I think that death was intentional by Fred. Now, if Rick's feeling adventurous, he does have the means to clear Pod right now. Not in logic, but you can still do quite a bit. You can actually full clear it, and with the fire rod, some of it is at least in logic. I think that's Rick's plan.
Fred eventually makes that bomb jump and just gets a key for his troubles. And Fouton is following Fred into Skull Woods here as Andy picks up his glove. So I believe that's Dark World access for all our runners now.
Yeah. So early on, looks like Rick and Fred have a slight lead, but we're only 15 minutes in. Looks like their team's, Pug Trio's team is going to do pretty much a similar division of labor between the two. Rick saw something over there he wants, just a piece of heart. I kind of get that in this mode, you know, you want to keep your health as high as you can. So it looks like we've got Rick and Andy are going to make the pod play. Fred and Fouton are going from Skull Woods to Thieves Town, most likely. So what's going to be our next item?
Hopefully a sword.
Oh, that actually answers our question. On Fred's side, he found the Keen of Samaria.
Oh, I guess not a sword.
Actually, not a bad find going into Thieves Town. If you need to fight blind without a sword, Cane is actually a pretty good weapon for it.
Yeah, arguably better than Hammer.
Though Fred also has no magic right now, so he would need a little magic to be able to do that. Actually, Andy is not going into the pod yet. He's taking the south route, going to go to the dig game. Probably check Stumpy. I missed what he found. Chat says 50 rupees on Stumpy. And one thing Rick wants to be careful of in pod is his arrow counts. Definitely want to keep those arrows up, especially since you don't have a sword. And if you do take on Helmasaur, you want arrows. I was actually watching
is it 4 or 8 wooden arrows to beat Helmasaur?
It's 8. Yeah, I was watching the race. I think I forget which SG channel it was on, but there was a race just before this I was watching where a couple runners went to Helmosaur without a sword, didn't have enough arrows, and had to try hammer Helmosaur to beat it, and that's a bit tricky.
Yeah, not a great hitbox at all. So Andy's got his cane too, so he'll probably follow Fred into Thieves shortly.
I don't think he's gonna fall Fred into Thieves because he's got the Frogsmith.
Oh, yeah, right, he'd get the "can't you take me someplace nice" message.
Yeah, he just opened it, but yeah, he can't go in there right now.
And no mirror.
So interestingly, at this point, we've got Rick and Fred concentrating on dungeons as Rick finds Ether. Andy and Fouton are focused more on the overworld.
Well, Andy being Andy, he's probably looking for boots.
He usually is. All four runners, of course, are.
Which reminds me, we have introduced the casual boots mode to the league this season. It'll be 2 weeks from now in week 3. That's become a very popular mode among a lot of runners.
Yeah, the game is generally intended to be played with boots, and that's generally said by the fact that you get boots in the vanilla run about 10 minutes into the run. And you have them for the remaining 70 to 80 minutes. So, not having boots feels bad when you're playing this. So a lot of runners are relieved to have that mode available.
Yeah, it's generally replaced Ambrosia because they're fairly similar. Ambrosia gives you the boots hint. Whoa, there's the hook shot in the back of Pod. That is a nice find if we ever get up Death Mountain. I mean, I guess we have access up Death Mountain even if it's not logical without the lamp or the flute.
That is correct. So Rick's got to be careful here. He's down to 1.5 hearts.
So once we're on Death Mountain, we can get everything except whatever's on top of Spec Rock.
Yep, that's right. Well, yep, you're right.
And I mean, and whatever's on the floating island. But yeah, otherwise we can do light and dark Death Mountains. That half magic plus the cape actually even makes Spike Cave in logic.
Ooh, Rick took a death in Pod. I think he was not sure where he was trying to go there. He does. I don't think he wanted to do that dark maze with 1.5 hearts. You know, Fred did get full magic here, so he's taking blind on with the Keenest Mario. Just 20 rupees on the catfish. And I think Thieves Town was pretty empty, but it is a crystal.
And that's in fact Fred's first dungeon clear.
Yeah, Rick is stepping out of Pod for now, which I don't blame him without the lamp, and with being at low health, that's a pretty tough one to do the back on.
Yeah, I mean, the dark maze is tough. Dark Turtle Room isn't too bad with the fire rod, at least.
So Rick is heading up to get his 20 rupees from the catfish. Fouton heading to Eastern to get his fire rod. Andy checking out Thieves Town. Fred doing some overworld checks. Where's our next piece of progression going to be? We're actually getting to the point where we're running low on spots.
Fred's spelling out high. But as we know from Pug Trio's side, this is a long dig game. And he grabs it anyway, why not?
Simultaneous 20 rupee grabs there for the bomb squad. Yeah, it's kind of. I'm starting to get to the point. I'm wondering what is our next piece of progression. Could it be purple chest? Don't feel like there's much else we haven't seen that's in logic at this point.
Yeah, I guess not. No mirror. That locks us out of quite a few things. No lamp or flute. Those lock us out of enough.
Yeah, it's kind of feeling like a. I feel like purple chest is going to have the lamp or the flute.
We saw an ugly seed in the league earlier this week where the purple chest had the hook shot, and then the mirror was in Paradox Cave, and the hammer was on Turtle Rock. Not Turtle Rock, Speck Rock.
I am very familiar with that one. All my team. So Fred looks like he's going to join Fouton and Eastern and get that fire rod. Rick is making the trip up Death Mountain. I like the trip up Death Mountain in this spot because if he finds the flute or the lamp, you'll get info on where the other is.
Right, if either is up here, the other had to be his logical access.
And if it's the lamp, you really don't care about finding it. If it's the flute, then that's some really valuable information.
Oh, and Andy is doing some Aria strats on blind here. Nice first cycle. I mean, Andy's always been known for his execution, but it's still pretty cool to see him, getting those double hits on blind each cycle.
Yep, and he's got blind down. Andy's got his first crystal. He's the only runner so far with 2 dungeons done.
But it averages out because Fouton still hasn't done any, though he's about to get his first pendant.
Fred will also not be too far behind there, or on his second as well. Yeah, it looks like that hookshot find in Pod is pretty big for the bomb squad right now.
And there's silvers, in fact. As far as we know, locked behind that hookshot since we don't know where the mirror is.
But here's Andy picking up that purple chest. Let's see what's in it. If it's the lamp, it's a nice find, but it's not exactly what you're hoping for. If it's the flutes, that's pretty big. Speaking of big finds, there's the boots.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to say the mushroom was the big find.
Oh, the mushroom could be a big find, too.
And we do have the items to allow us to do fake powder.
Oh, so it was just a potion in the blue or in the purple chest. I'm really wondering where our logical progression up Death Mountain is at this point. Oh, chat makes a good point that potion opens up Sick Kid.
Oh, right. Yes. First bottle. Well, that also means that we don't need Lumberjack.
Yep. Aga is dead. Well, Aga we still have to do Aga anyway, but we don't need Lumberjack.
In all dungeons, if you can save Aga for the end, because then you wind up right at the pyramid with a free health and magic refill before jumping into Ganon.
Alright, so we've got a big key, so Rick is going to set up the Herapots.
So I wonder what Sick Kid has on him. Will it be the lamp? Will it be the flute? It could even be the mirror.
It could be the mirror, yeah, that would open up a few more spots. Rick has a nice Hera pot set up. He's up on the top of Hera right now. Hoping not to have to do the basement.
Yeah, and getting those boots are nice and good. Ah, wow, okay. Finally got our first sword.
Yep, that's both items out of Hera. There's the heart container and a sword.
But yeah, the boots are nice and convenient because if you have boots plus hook shot, that's the easiest way to get to the big chest in Hera.
Yeah, I really like where Bomb Squad is at this point, though. Fouton is in pod at this point, and he is going to find that hook shot. And he could make up a little time, too, if he one-shots pod versus Rick, who had to leave.
So now that Rick has silvers, it's going to make Helma King a whole lot easier when he goes back in there.
Just having the sword will make Helmasaur King much easier.
Yeah, fighter sword Helma King isn't great.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's it's a little bit better than the alternative. So Andy's making the climb up Death Mountain, but without the hook shots, he's not going to get very far.
No, he'll get that from the old man. He'll get whatever's inside Spec Rock, and that's about it. And Rick's going to show us what's in Spiral Cave.
Just a piece of art there. The next step is Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, and I wonder if we can get into Turtle Rock, because the cane is in Logic, though Rick doesn't have it. But he knows where it is because Fred has it.
Yeah.
So
he's going to go up to Turtle Rock the normal... No, you can't actually do it that way, Rick. Now without the mirror. Oh, but Andy's going to give us a spike cave check. We have not seen this. This actually could be lamp or flute here too.
Yeah,
No,
and with that,
it can't be a logical progression. Never mind.
yeah, because the cape was flippers locked.
Well, Fouton doesn't have to worry about the mirror shield now.
Right. I don't think he's gonna go in there. So yeah, assuming Sick Kid has either the lamp or the flute for logical Death Mountain access, Turtle Rock, if it's Ether, could have our next piece of progression.
We're about to find out. It is Ether.
Oof, so now Rick's gonna need to make another trip because he doesn't have that cane.
Well, this is where the division of labor and co-op's going to help you. You can tell Fred, hey, I found Turtle Rock, it's Ether. When you get up here, you're doing this.
Yeah.
There's our lamp on Sick Kid.
Okay, that's our Death Mountain access. That's logical completion of Eastern and Pod, too.
And Fouton just found the hookshot for Pug Trio.
Well, there's the other cane on Dark Death Mountain.
Now, Fouton does have the opportunity to find some extra items that Rick missed here.
Well, given what we said about health in this seed, the heart container's sure nice.
There's our second sword. Rick's got two, nobody else has one yet. But in terms of progression, we got a couple things up here. We got the boots, we got the mushroom.
Oh!
We got the mirror. Oh, the mirror's in a pod.
Yeah. So this would have made Rick's life a lot easier if he'd been able to do Dark Maze in the dark.
Well, if Fred can do it in the dark, he'll get that info for Rick. Rick will be a little mad, but at least they won't be too far behind on it.
And with that mirror, Fred might also do purple chest and find out where that lamp is.
Andy's heading to the back of Skullwoods. We haven't seen this chest yet, but he cannot complete Skullwoods because he does not have a sword.
This is so crazy looking at the distribution of items between the runners because they all have progression that others don't.
Rick is running to the front of Escape. I'm not sure why. Is he going to make the Aga play now? No? Oh, maybe they haven't done the front of Escape yet.
Yeah, I don't think Fred ever did it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, yeah. They only did the back. That's right. Interestingly, Andy found a bottle in the back of Skull Woods, meaning that the purple chest is not needed at all in this seed.
Yeah, though that's a pretty out-of-the-way location to check when you don't have the sword.
And Pod Fouton is getting to that turtle room pretty well. Andy heading the pod as well because he wants that hook shot.
And mirror.
Oh, and yeah, and that mirror too.
So Andy's gonna have a much easier time doing Death Mountain checks.
Did Fred get everything before he died?
Did Rick get everything where?
I'm talking on Fred's side. Fred took a Death in the Dark maze. I'm not sure if he got everything.
Oh.
He did get the mirror. Well, Fouton has to do a hammer Helmosaur here. He's taking some hits to get the iframes. And he gets it down with 1 heart. We're on Rick's side. Did he get a heart refill after opening that chest in Zelda's cell? I think he was trying to set up a death warp.
Yeah. Don't you hate when that happens?
Yeah, that's a bit annoying.
So now each of our runners has 2 dungeons finished, and it's quite a selection of 2 dungeons. They've all done Eastern.
They've all done Eastern, 2 have done Thieves Town, 1 has done Hera, 1 has done Pop. That mirror's going to be our next piece of progression. So the question is what the mirror leads to now. It doesn't actually open up too much on its own. Oh, we also have the boots that open up a couple spots. We haven't seen the boots checks yet because we've got Graveyard Ledge, we've got King's Tomb, we've got Bonk Rocks, we've got Cave 45. So it feels like our next piece of progression might be an Overworld. Can't get into Swamp yet. We can clear Skull Woods, but I think we've seen both items. Don't have logical progression into Ice yet. Though one of these runners could choose to do it if they wanted. We also do have Turtle Rock sitting there.
Yeah, and with that mirror, it would be interesting if our progression's in Mimic Cave.
Fouton is making the trip up Death Mountain. He's going to be able to check a lot, but similar to Rick when he came up here, Fouton does not have Samaria yet, so will not be able to go into Turtle Rock.
But the mirror will definitely help his routing.
Well, Fred had a pretty nice fight against Helmasaur. Also had to do some hammer strats there. Rick is giving us our boots checks.
I assume there was nothing in Bonk Rocks because I didn't notice anything.
I think he came over King's Tomb first.
Oh yeah, he saved and quit to Sank, sorry. Well, he went from 0 to 2 boomerangs in very little time.
Yeah, you'll take a boomerang. Helps you with menuing. 2 might be a little much, though.
Ah, the Uncle Bombs. So named because that item was introduced to Randomizer. It is not in the vanilla game, but in standard mode, it's a possible starting weapon that Uncle can give you.
Yeah, many runners are familiar with the Uncle Bombs from back from a tournament a few years ago. I forget exactly how long ago now, but back a few years ago, we had a standard tournament that had the random starting weapon, and runners had to get very familiar with your 7 possible starting weapons. Fouton picks up Pug Trio's first sword at about 40 minutes into the seed.
Well, I mean, Fred and Andy still don't have theirs.
Yeah, no Samaria. Rick's gotta drag the statue. Oh!
Oof. I'm surprised that Wallmaster didn't pull up the whole statue with him.
Really should have. It's very selective with its grab.
So Andy's got plenty of arrows for Helma here and takes them down with ease. And Fouton with his palette swap, I honestly thought he was somehow doing Moldorm in the dark.
That was a pretty dark arena. Fouton's up to 3 dungeons. Andy's got 3 dungeons done. So does Fred. Rick is the only one with 2 dungeons done, but he's going for a 3rd right now. Going to be the first to clear Skull Woods out. Interestingly, Andy is also coming up here now, but he doesn't have Ether.
Wait, that's got to be wrong on his tracker because he just finished Pod. How does he not have Ether?
I'll have to check his inventory in just a second. I think the chat's just saying he does have Ether. Sometimes our tracker just doesn't like to update it. It's a little weird. That's gonna be interesting because Andy will be able to go into Turtle Rock. Will be the first person to be able to go into Turtle Rock. While Rick is spitting fire and trying to swing at this moth.
There we go.
Oh, I guess both items are in the back of Skull Woods, but the second item was just a piece of... So all runners are 3 dungeons now.
Yeah, no one's done that mushroom turn-in yet, though that's not surprising without the flute. It's a bit out of the way. And the people who have the mushroom are the ones who don't have the cane, so we're not going to see fake powder for a bit either.
So Fouton found the boots, told Andy where they are, and Andy dropped everything to go get them.
I'm shocked.
Andy also is going to pick up the silvers.
So it looks like Rick's gonna do the sick kid check now, so he'll get his lamp, so with that and the silvers, he should be well positioned to finish pod and get his mirror on the way.
I think that was just a swag hover there, honestly. I feel like in that situation, it would have just been faster to set the bomb jump up.
Probably.
Yeah. Andy's going to head and do Hera right now to grab that second sword. And then we'll have to see if he goes into Turtle Rock.
I mean, hovering that first gap in Turtle Rock, I can see. Hovering the next room would be insane. Oh, no, he's the one who has the cane. It's Fouton who doesn't have the cane.
Yeah, he has cane. Yeah, that's the reason that Fouton didn't go into Turtle Rock, is because Fouton does not have Samaria.
So at this point, all we really still need are the flippers, the flute, the ice rod, and possibly a medallion for Meyer.
And looking at what we have, the flute could be in GT. Flippers do have to be outside GT. Ice
The
rod.
Meyer medallion could also be in GT.
Yep. So flippers and ice rod have to be outside GT. Flute and a medallion could be in GT. So Fouton's focusing on Overworld as Andy takes down Moldorm for his 4th dungeon clear.
It's always interesting to see runners' individual preferences when they hit Moldorm with a Master Sword and a hammer, whether they do hammer strats or spin strats.
Somewhat it's a matter of comfort. I know early on I preferred hammer to Master Sword, but later, or now I kind of prefer the Master Sword. Yeah, I believe Andy is heading for Turtle Rock.
And manages not to get dead-rocked or knocked into his portal.
So Turtle Rock, this is one of our big standing locations right now.
Yeah, either 5 or 6 items here, depending on whether Trinex has an item.
Yeah, and I think we're again getting to the point where we've seen about everything that's in Logic. Mushroom we have not seen. Beyond that, I don't know if there's much else we haven't that's in Logic. As I said earlier, the runners could choose to. One of them could choose to dip Ice Palace. You got to clear it anyway, but do you want to do that without the flippers? And with 4 items towards go mode, I don't think it's not that bad of a play actually.
So Rick is the only one of our runners to... I guess Fouton hasn't done blind yet, but so far Rick is our first runner to actually do a sword fight against blind.
Yeah, it's got to feel a little comfortable.
He's quite off script, but he has enough health that he's more than fine. And there's our final shield.
Just like that, all runners have 4 dungeons done. Fred will pick up the silvers.
Rick is finally getting that cane.
Yeah, I think this is going to be his plate of pod next. To get that mirror. Or maybe not. This might be the Ice Palace play. Yeah, I think Rick's going for Ice Palace. Ooh, and he takes a laser hit there and down to half a heart.
And no powder to easily refill his health either, though. Wasn't Purple Chest blue goo?
It was red.
Oh, either way he can refill his health that way.
Now, if he can get outside and get to the other door that leads to the big chest, he can take a death warp and refill his health. Fred's going to join Andy in Turtle Rock as Rick is exploring Ice Palace.
Well, good thing he stopped to pick up that cane so he can do Icebreaker at least.
He's not doing it right away, but some runners just like to come here and hit the switch. Yep, he just hit the switch. He was going to head back.
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing a full clear... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that way, even if you're doing a full clear, if you happen to find the 3 items before you find the big key, you don't have to go searching for the big key.
Yeah, if you're going to do a full clear of Ice Palace regardless, it's generally a little faster to just not hit that switch and do it normally, but if you don't think you're going to have to do a full clear, then that can save a little time.
Well, the big key was vanilla for all that, so yeah, probably would have been better to just not have hit the switch.
That's our first item in Ice Palace, 10 arrows. Haven't seen much in Turtle Rock so far, but Andy's about to hit Laser Bridge.
What do you mean? That shield was key.
I mean, if it saves his life once, it will be worth it.
And technically it was French vanilla, because if he hadn't skipped that shield next to the dam, it would be mirror.
Ooh, Rick falls down the hole. There's the flute in Turtle Rock.
Okay, so that was our progression.
Well, Rick finds powder in Ice Palace. Oh, Andy takes a death.
Oof. After he took that first fall, if he was going to maybe do the safety exit, but...
Now, here's where Rick's decision to hit the crystal hurts a little bit, because now he's got to take the long route to get to Ice Tea Room.
Well, I don't think he had intended to do this, because he tried to set up a bomb jump and fell in.
Yeah, I think his rust's a little off here. I generally think coming out of the right side, you want to go into that square room with the falling tiles, fall down there to get to iced tea, and then from there you want to bomb jump the other way, which is a free bomb jump, and finish checking.
Yeah, I do see that from most runners.
Not sure why Rick's going back this way. Did he find all the items already?
I think he's gotten every chest except for the one on Cold Stare.
Oh, good point. Yeah. Okay. Well, Andy finishing up Laser Bridge. Just the Fouton Laser Bridge, but that's still a very good find.
Yeah, without the book, that's also our desert access. Oh, where was the powder? Did Rick pick that up in ice?
Yes, he picked that up in the nice big chest.
Oh, I totally missed that.
That powder isn't in logic, of course. Hey, there's a sword on Graveyard Ledge. I missed that completely, but I see the Fred picked that up too. Ooh, Rick doesn't get the spin off, and the Cold Stare Puffs get away, and he can't take another hit, I think.
Oh, he does have that green potion at least.
I'd give him another 16 shots. Yeah, that was a smart move
And
there.
he didn't even need a third of that.
So Rick is through ices. Andy visits the mire area. We need Quake to get into mire.
And as discussed, that could well be in GT. In fact, it could be in GT Big Chest like I see it earlier today.
So on the bomb squad side, Fred is closing in on that flute, though he's down to 1 heart. So Fred's got to be very careful here. Rick, now he's going back to pod to get that mirror.
Fred's not taking any chances. This room that Fred's in is interesting because if you do it in the dark, it's like you basically just have to memorize the sequence of D-pad hits.
Yeah, it's actually not even that hard of a sequence to memorize. That's actually one of the easier dark rooms in the game once you memorize the pattern.
So Rick will finally be getting his mirror, as Andy is the one doing all the new checks for us now. Did he not get the small key and forgot that he didn't have the small key, I guess?
He might have. Yep, he did.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, he's on the right side but doesn't have a key. How did that happen?
So Fred, I think, just set up a death to save his portal at Laser Bridge. Which is interesting, because I don't know if he really has anything left he can check in the Light World. Unless his plan is to go to the mire area, and he finds the ice rod to take another death, so he can...
That prevents him from even checking checkerboard, you know? And it'll turn out he can't get into mire, and...
Yeah, I don't know if saving the portal there really is going to help him out. So at this point in the seed, it feels like that Pug Trio's taken a bit of an advantage. And I mean, early on, I felt Bomb Squad was in a better shape, but well, there's Fred's signature move, laying bombs.
Yeah, I think a lot of that advantage may come down to Rick not doing the Dark Maze his first time in pod.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate, but that really is the difference right now. Is Rick not being able to do that Dark Maze really kind of put him behind a bit. I mean, he'll have the dungeon advantage here shortly because he'll be the first to clear 6.
Yeah, as Andy gets his 5th.
And there's Flippers. So we just need Ice Rod and Quake. Flippers opens up a full Swamp Palace to check. Flippers puts Ice Palace in Logic, which would put that Powder in Logic.
And with 6 items in Swamp Palace, that could easily be where the Ice Rod is. Other than that, I don't think anyone's shown us Cave 45 yet, have they?
Fred did.
No, right, Fred did because he did the Smith chain with the mirror in hand.
Yeah, I don't remember what was in K45, but it wasn't anything important.
But no one's done Magic Bat, which is now in Logic because Ice Palace is in Logic.
Andy's heading back to Skullwoods first to get the item off Mothula. Rick has the easiest Helmsir King fight, just 1 silver arrow. So that's 6 done for Rick. Andy's about to get his 6th done. Fred is closing out on his 5th. Fouton is about to get his flute.
Yeah, but then we'll be even on the completed dungeon count again. But yeah, Rick's gonna have to do that Turtle Rock dive at some point. It's almost certainly a double dip Turtle Rock required.
Yeah, I don't think there's anywhere that you can really check out that flute at this point. I'm sure he's hoping that Fred finds it and it's somewhere he can get to. The only place it could be that could save Rick some time is if he checks Magic Bats. Or the Mushroom, which I think he's heading up to right now. I don't think anybody's checked this yet.
Yeah, we've had that mushroom for a while.
Like a half hour. I think Rick was the first to find it, and what is Fouton doing?
I don't know.
He's about to have a realization. There it is.
Okay, so the mushroom was a bust for all that.
Fred is heading to Swamp. He's going to be the first one into Swamp. As Andy's going to go pick up his Tempered Sword. And Rick is heading to grab his flute. Now, even though this spot's out of the way for Andy, this is a good pickup. Tempered Sword is definitely going to save you more time than it's taking to get it right now.
Yeah, it'll make both Argus and Trinex quite a bit easier.
Andy doing the flute or the mushroom check for Pug Trio. And looks like we're going to see division of Fouton going into ice, and Andy will likely go into swamp.
And Fred's about to give us the first check in swamp. Bottle number 3.
Actually, that's 4. That's all 4 of our bottles accounted for now. We had late.
Oh, right, there was... Right.
Lumberjack, purple chest, back of Skull Woods, and the first chest of swamp.
Yeah, I forgot about Lumberjack because it was so long ago and obviously no one picked it up. That Stalfo's giving Fred a bit of a hard time with the switch.
There's the mirror shield if you want him, Andy. So with 2 items to go mode, I fully expect Fred to full clear swamp. Same with Andy. If you're 1 item from go mode, you might just head straight to the back, but 2 items, you're going to check everything in here. And as I say that, Fred heads straight to the back.
Well, that's 2 items so far, right? He might be hoping for the God Swamp.
That's fair. There's a book. So that adds the 2 tablets to our checks.
And what we really don't want to see is Quake right now, because that would mean that Ice Rod could be on PED.
And not as bad of a situation in all dungeons, but yeah, it's still a possibility.
I guess for Fred that's not too bad because he still hasn't finished Skull Woods. Everyone else has finished Skull Woods, so they'd have to make an extra trip back for it.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Fred could go finish Skull Woods now and scout the pet if he wants to. But Andy's going to do the full clear from the start. And with that compass, we've confirmed 2 items between the big chest and left side.
Right, so the flip side of that is because Fred got that big key first, if there's something... Oh, he's not going back in. Wow.
Oh, this is... I wonder if they feel behind, or they're just going to say that book's the progression. That's 2 items left in Swamp. If either of them's Quake or Ice Rod, Pug Trio takes a huge lead. Yeah, I don't know if I like this move, but we'll see if it pays off.
Fred's going back, so maybe he is going back to Swamp.
He's got to redrain it if he goes back into Swamp, though.
Oh, that's true, right, as soon as you leave that screen. No, he's not.
Oh,
that was one of the items.
Yeah, the first item was just a heart container. And that does also open up Pyramid Fairy, which is what Fred's going to do right now. Yes, the compass was on Argus. So the last item that we don't know in Swamp is in the big chest.
Which Andy's going to have to go back for because the key was all the way out in Waterfall chest.
Rick's got his flute. He's going to go activate that as Fouton picks up his 6th crystal. Everyone has, or not 6th crystal, but 6th dungeon. Everyone's got 6 dungeons done now. And yeah, at this point, with menuing, you've got so many items that sometimes it's just faster to just menu at this point. Don't try to force the quick swap if you don't need to.
Yeah, quick swap, an automatic time save like everyone thinks it is, and Fred's screen just froze and I did not see what was in either chest.
One of them was a heart, because I saw his life go up. I don't know about the other, though.
Oh, and Fouton's our first to check Magic Bat here.
Rick's going to be right behind him.
Same.
Just a heart. We haven't seen Green Pendant turn in either. We've had that Green Pendant for, well, not too long, but we have not seen this turn in yet.
So we have a number of isolated checks. We have Green Pendant. We have Ether Tablet.
There's the Ice Rod.
Oh, you were saying, okay. And meanwhile, Andy's going to show us what's in Swamp Big Chest and whether Fred's risk paid off and saved him some time.
Oh, by the way, I just checked Fred's inventory. He has Bombos. So that was the other one.
Okay, so that's not going to do anything for us other than maybe be convenient for killing a room of enemies.
So I partially don't agree with what Fred's doing right now. I think he should go clear Skullwoods and Ice first. I think he realized that too.
Yeah. I mean, I know Trinex just went in Logic, but if you can combine it with GT...
So Fred is the first one in GT mode. But we still need Quake to finish this seep. Andy did check the big chest. It was just bombs, so Fred's risk is going to pay off. Now, Fred might have been thinking about also going to check that Ether Tablet, but the way he was running straight for Turtle Rock.
And Rick and Fouton both know what all they can skip in Desert, so they stay clear of the right side and are headed straight for the back.
Yeah. And I think Pug Trio is going to find their Ice Rod here pretty quickly if Andy basically does the exact same thing Fred did. Goes from Pyramid Fairy to check that Green Pendant.
Now the question is, will Rick make that detour for Tempered?
It's a tougher call for him because it's just so far out of the way now. But it saves so much time.
I mean, you could sort of kind of route it in with getting the Ice Rod if you flute to 5, take the portal, mirror to Saha, and then come back and go north.
Dungeon-wise, this has been a pretty close race. Rick is clearing his 7th. Fred's just going to clear his 7th. So that both teams are tied at 7 right now. And Andy is fluting away. Let's see what he's going to do. Okay, he's just fluting to 5. This is his Green Pendant turn in. And so both teams are going to be in Quake mode. Or GT mode, whatever you want to call it. They're both going to just be looking for Quake at this point.
Oh, so Rick's going to do Swamp before that turn in, okay. I was thinking, given the potential for routing in Tempered, that maybe he'd get the Ice Rod and Tempered before Swamp.
So we'll see what Bomb Squad's strategy is at this point. If Rick also just goes basically straight for... if he goes straight for Argus here.
Andy and Fred are basically in identical situations right now.
So are Rick and Fouton. I mean, Fouton's a little ahead, but look at where this race is at this point. We're basically we're basically tied.
Yeah, with a slight advantage to Pug Trio just because both of their runners have tempered.
Yeah, that is actually going to be bigger than you think, though, unless we find the last sword somewhere. If if it ends up with three of the runners having gold and the other having tempered, that's not so bad.
Yeah, and since we're going to be full clearing GT basement until we get that Quake, it's entirely possible that the last sword is down there too.
Yeah, I kind of just agree with what I just don't see Rick going for the tempered. It's just so far out of the way at this point for him. I mean, he does have an opportunity to route it in here. If he flutes to 5 and uses the portal as you said, but
That's really his only even semi-reasonable time to do it.
yeah, we're gonna see what Bomb Squad strategy is right now. Does Rick go for left side or does he go straight to Arcus? He's doing left side. So this is going to give Pug Trio some time.
Which they were already gaining a bit just because Fouton's been out-executing Rick in here.
Yeah, but I think this moves from like a pretty even race to advantage in terms of for Pug Trio. And okay, I think Rick's just not fully familiar with how to set up the bomb here. About to say I was kind of curious about what he was doing, but I kind of see it now. Unfortunately, I don't think that block's placed just right for Diver Down. No, that block was really high.
No. That looks a bit better positioned, but Rick doesn't quite seem to be in the right place himself. Oh, maybe not quite.
There he goes. Yeah, Fred's done with Ice Palace. He's on his way to Turtle Rock. Andy's on his way to Turtle Rock. I believe he just finished Ice as well. He's going to go buy Ether Tablet, though.
And so is Fouton. Right, we haven't seen Ether Tablet yet.
Fred's leaving it behind. Yeah, unfortunately, this left side swamp check by Rick is just costing him a lot of time now. This is probably a decision they should have just stuck to here. I mean, it's easier to say that in hindsight since we know it's here, but...
Yeah, but at a certain point, if you feel behind, you have to say, well, either I skip a few checks and try to catch up, and if my item is in one of those checks, I'm going to lose by a lot instead of lose by a little, but if it's not, then I can catch up.
So Andy, or actually Fred was the first one back into Turtle Rock. Andy's right behind him though. Fouton's on his way up Death Mountain. Interesting path up Death Mountain though. Well, I forget if there's something he might just want to grab here. Oh, he's already got Turtle Rock open, so it doesn't really matter, I guess.
Oof, and now Rick's wasting this time checking the big chest.
Yeah, this is a pretty big time sink. mean, I get wanting to be thorough. It's just, but yeah, I mean, this is such an easy thing for us to say, calling it here. Now, the reason Fred got a little ahead of Andy is because Andy checked ether. Fred did not.
Andy checked what?
Andy checked the ether tablet.
Oh.
Ether tablet was just a green rupee. Yeah, I'm trying to think what we need to have, what Bomb Squad needs it to happen at this point to kind of make up this deficit that's forming.
Some amazing ability to find the right items quickly in GT Basement and have Pug Trio just use completely different routing.
Unfortunately, Rick's going to also have a slower Argus fight here because of that Master Sword. Everybody else had Tempered.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking it might have helped him to, you know, get the Ice Rod here and pull Tempered while at it.
Meanwhile, Andy pulling ahead on this Trinex fight. Like, he just obliterated that. Fred, a little bit slower.
Which means this game we're about to play is probably going to go off of Andy.
All right.
So this is crystal number 7. And get your guesses in for where Andy will find the big key. So even if Fred takes different routing and finds the big key first, or Fouton takes different routing, we're going off of Andy because he'll be the first one into GT.
I'm looking at how Rick's routing this. He's not going to pick up that Tempered. He's just going to go into GT and hope he can find a Tempered in there.
Yeah, that's another advantage for Pug Trio then, because going into GT at the same time, they can divide and conquer the basement. Whereas Fred's going to have to do it all on his own.
So Andy's going in. Fred will be right behind him.
Get your last guesses in here.
Looking for two things. You're looking for the GT Big Key and the Quake Medallion. No key on the right side, so Andy's got to go left. Oh, that's right. Fred also had to check the ether tablets.
So what do you think? Will Andy do Dark Magician? Will Fouton do Dark Magician?
I think Andy sticks left and Fouton grabs the key and goes right.
Yeah, I guess he won't even go to Stalfos' room unless there's something in it. Since there was the key on the torch.
Alright, got a key, bombs, arrows, and another key.
So that's 7, right?
Yes. They're both going.
So here's check number 9 coming up. Oh, there's our butter sword. So if either Big Key or Quake are on left side, Rick will just pass that and he'll get his Tempered anyway.
Here's the rando room, and nothing in there.
And 13 down.
Which that also does mean there's nothing on the left side, which means for Rick, getting that sword is a little out of the way again. I guess
Which
unless
is why Fouton mirrored as soon as Andy finished in Rando Room and is now doing right side while Andy does Ice Armos.
unless there's nothing absolutely on the right, then Rick could still go left and be fine.
Yeah, if the big key is vanilla or French vanilla, then it's probably easier for Rick to go left anyway. Oh, Fouton's actually doing Tile Room. I kind of like this.
Yeah, I do. This lets him wait a little bit while Andy's clearing out the back here. Let's see, big key in the back. Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, that was 17.
So we are still looking for that Quake medallion. I think Andy's going to check the big chest, and then he's going to go upstairs.
And congratulations to M4A2000 for guessing and winning 23 points.
Andy's starting his climb. If Fouton tells him Quake's down here, he'll mirror.
I mean, he's gotta.
Because the Quake medallion could still be upstairs GT. That is a possibility. Checking the compass room. Not there.
I think it's gotta be upstairs because I think we've seen everything else, right?
Yeah, it has to be upstairs.
And poor Fred, because Rick's now fallen behind doing the left side of Swamp, Fred's having to do all of GT Basement himself, and he's not going to find anything here.
I'm a little surprised Fouton just didn't continue to the back through the right, unless he really wants that.
Yeah, I mean, he has a Cane of Burna. And at this point in the game, and for runners of these caliber, do you really need butter?
Yeah, it would have been a little faster for him just to continue to the Armos from where he was. I mean, we're talking about maybe a little bit of a difference here. I mean, Pug Trio still got a good advantage, but, you know, sometimes in these races, the little differences add up. So the advantage for Rick, at least, is he knows where he's got to go. He knows what chest he has to open, and then he can go straight upstairs. But at this point, Bomb Squad basically needs Pug Trio to make a mistake to have a chance to catch up.
I mean, it could be something crazy like, you know, Meyer big keys vanilla and Bomb Squad goes right for it and Pug Trio last locations it, though even that probably wouldn't make up the time difference at this point.
So Fred has to grab the key here because he's out of keys. He's relayed all the information Rick needs. And we're about to get the checks from Andy. 4 chests upstairs, GT. There's Quake.
At 127.13, Pug Trio is in go mode.
So at this point, the most efficient way to handle this is going to be to finish up GT, finish AGA 2, then you're going to want to mirror and do AGA 1 immediately. After AGA 1, you mirror, then you can float over to Meyer, kill Vitreous and Meyer, finish that, save and quit, and go drop into Ganon.
Maybe with a detour to get the fairy off the tree.
I don't know if either of these runners would go for that.
Wonder if Fouton's going to get the safety room here.
Yeah. Good move here. You're a little too low on health.
And he never grabbed the powder either. Actually, no, one of them must have the powder, because
Yeah,
I know one of them checked Magic Bat.
I think Fouton's got powder, yeah. I remember Fouton checking Magic Bat. Now, I know that kind of you might be tempted to do Aga 1 after Meyer, but it's going to be a little faster to do it right now. Just because, at a minimum, you can save and quit after Meyer to get right back up here.
Yeah, and in the alternative, you'd have to save and quit to Link's house and run over.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Andy's doing. And so, the Aga Tower climb with gold sword and silver arrows is going to be pretty quick.
And by the way, if you like what you're seeing here tonight, give these runners a follow. You know, they're all doing a great job, really. And hey, we have 6 more weeks of them after this.
Also, we should give a shout out to our trackers. I don't think we've given them a shout out yet tonight. Our trackers for tonight are Adalor and Ikir. Hope I got those names right.
Yeah.
So Fred's found the Quake Medallion. Bomb Squad is also in go mode now.
Oh, you got the pronunciation right, too. I would have said Akir.
I think I've worked with them before.
Ah.
Got Andy already near the top of Aga Tower. Fred closing in on Aga 2. Fouton pretty close behind Fred. Rick still making his climb through the gauntlet. Interesting question, chat. We should probably bring up how the winners decided here. The winner of this race will be decided in terms of the average time between the two teams. So we got Andy starting the Aga 1 fight. People getting their guesses in for how many blue balls we'll see. There's our first. And there's our second. Well, Fred's got Aga 2 down. He's going to join Andy in Aga Tower.
Yeah, so just to address chat, there are 32 teams in the Invitational League. 12 of them will make playoffs. The division winners each get a bye, and then we just do brackets until one team wins.
Rick's got to be careful. He's down to 1 heart.
Well, at least he gets through Lanmo there. There's a heart in the next room.
I haven't been counting Andy's blue balls, but he's gotten like 3 or 4 at least. Looks like this is not a very friendly Aga fight.
Is that the second lightning or the third?
Well,
okay, 7 blue balls, chat saying. So that was the third lightning. You don't see that too often.
Andy is through Aga Tower, mirroring. He's going to go to Meyer next. Rick gets the Quake Medallion. All our runners are officially in go mode now. So we're going to keep our eyes on Andy to see how fast this Meyer is. Rick taking a page from Fred's playbook there. Fred will be second into the Aga fight. Fouton not going to be too far behind. Rick getting into his Aga 2 fight.
So now the only remaining question is, where is that Meyer big key hiding today? Are we going to get the God Meyer?
Well, not from the first chest, but we could still.
Oh, if it's in that chest, that's like the serious God Meyer for Andy, because he then just hovers over the next bridge.
A small key means that this could be the big key over here. And it is. This is a Godmire.
Yep, so really no opportunity for the bomb squad to make up time now.
So it's just going to come down to, at this point, I mean, yeah, it's basically going to come down to Pug Trio. If they can execute the rest of the way, it's their race. I haven't been kind of keeping an eye on the timing, but I feel like Andy's got like a 2 to 3 minute advantage over Fred. Fouton's probably got like a 3 to 4 minute advantage over Rick.
Seems about right. Yeah, it would take a few Ganon falls at this point to change the course of the race.
I think Andy might have no, he did it right. I was about to say he might have accidentally switched the switch incorrectly, but so Andy heading into the Vitreous fight. There's not really going to be any chance to mess this one up because he's got silver arrows. And he's got plenty.
Yeah, I mean, he'll take down Vidian to have more than enough for Ganon still.
One person whose arrow count actually could be a bit of a problem is Rick, actually, because he's
and
down 4.
he hasn't been restocking either, though he's grabbing those at least.
He should grab those arrows, and he does.
But I noticed, like, in the restock room after Land Mode 2, he didn't bother getting the arrows out of there.
Andy is done with Meyer. He's going into the Ganon fight. So since Andy has the mirror and he's cleared Aga 1, a save and quit in the Dark World takes you right to the pyramid.
And Ganon is giving us insect facts.
So with Gold Sword and Silver Arrows, this is a pretty easy fight. And it's actually rare in co-op week to see runners with Gold Sword and Silver Arrows.
Gold Sword more so than Silver's.
Alright, so Andy's in the final phase.
Almost forgot to shoot Ganon there. He was going for the torches already.
Not quite the triple to finish, but Ganon's down for Andy.
Get your GGs in. And Andy crosses the bridge and finishes first with an official race time of 1:38:35.
We do have to see both runners finish before we can determine who wins this.
It looks like Fred will at least edge out Fouton, so...
Yeah, at a minimum, the sword difference. Though I expect Fouton will 1-1 Ganon, even with the tempered sword.
Yeah. And it's always nice when at least the race is competitive enough that you don't have one team finishing 1-2 and the other team finishes 3-4.
Fred has Vidi down, Fouton entering the Vidi fights.
And Rick has Aga down. And mind you, the bomb squad doesn't know where Fouton's at, so for all they know, they still have to keep playing hard and Fouton's way behind.
Fred on phase 3, Ganon as Fouton drops in. I will say, this also seems like it's been on the longer side for some of the co-op seeds this week.
Well, I mean, Go Mode took forever. I remember at the hour mark, they were maybe at like 6 or 7 dungeons.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer. It seemed like that they were like slowly getting progression throughout this seed. Like there was no like big points of like, oh, here's 5 items for you towards your progression. Fred will finish second. Just has to cross that bridge.
Yep, he gets an official time of 1:41:20. And Fouton gets the torch glitch right at the same time. Doesn't get the double.
Ganon is down for Fouton.
And crossing the bridge at 1:41:58, Fouton makes Pug Trio officially the winners of this match, so GG's to them.
Yep. Yeah, this was a pretty close race. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it really came down to, I think, 2 big things for Bomb Squad here. I mean, it was, one was just not being able to get through Pod the first time for Rick. And then I think the second was just that committing to the swamp play. I think that those are the 2 things that are the big difference here.
Yeah, the swamp play definitely ate up a few minutes, and probably combined with the extra dip of pod, that'll do it. And we are meanwhile joined by Andy and Fouton. GG's, guys.
GG. GG. I think this is the worst seed that we've had out of all of the co-op we've done for between practice and this.
It was pretty bad.
I think we needed like Ice Rod and Quake like for the longest time, and that was it.
Yeah, the
I guess
flute
like
seemed like it was going to be
Fouton
everything.
flippers came like immediately, and then God, and then it was like full clear swamp for a book, and you're just like, oh god.
Yeah.
Full clear. Fouton had already done ice. We were a little worried about ice having ice rod because Fouton could have done that instead of going straight to Turtle Rock and maybe single dipped it, but it ended up being okay.
Yeah, and of course you have to do the Pyramid Ferry before doing Saha just because of where they're each located.
Yep. Yeah, it was just all over the place, this seed. It was really awkwardly laid out. The bottles for lamp were all super duper gross. There was like no good one to pick from. Back of Skullwoods without a sword, purple chest, lumberjack, and the first chest in swamp were the 4 bottles.
Yeah, we had first thought, because we saw you guys get your first bottle from Purple Chest, we were thinking that might have been the only logical progression, but no, Back of Skullwoods had it too.
Yeah, it was just this is just a gross seed.
It was a combination of everything being in bad spots, but also the way that we had split things, like because of the bottle in the back of Skullwoods, and I didn't get the fire rod when I chose to go to Skullwoods, stuff like that. It kept getting amplified. The bad stuff got worse.
Yeah, we kind of noticed that on both sides. Like, for example, like the first runner of Death Mountain on each side did not have Samaria, so you couldn't go into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I mean, when we were going up, we had just ether and no sword yet, so we're like, all right, it's whatever. Fouton was first up there, and so if he found a sword, I was going to be the one going to Turtle Rock. It wasn't like that big of a deal. That's also why I ended up doing Dark World Death Mountain first to see if Turtle Rock was ether. So
just to cut in, we have a final exploding Ganon in Adirondackrick's window, so GG's to him.
GG.
He crosses at 1:45:38, and if my math is right, I believe that's an average time difference of 3 minutes 12 seconds. So yeah, still a fairly close race at the end of the day. I don't know if you guys are aware, but you were actually behind through the initial part with the Light World. Bomb Squad had a bit better routing there and found all those key items that you find in Sphere 1 a bit faster. But then you guys caught up and passed them in the Dark World.
I think we decided to not do South Shore immediately. I decided with low health and just bow and hammer to just beeline Eastern, just because I was way more confident with surviving that.
I was about to choose South Shore, and I didn't have arrows, so I felt a little more comfortable doing Escape, and then I tried to go for the full Dark Rooms without any indicators. It didn't work.
Yeah, because once I got Fire Rod back of Escape, being in Logic was kind of rough for Fouton.
Yeah, I think one of the big things here too is like you're saying. One of the big turning points in this is Rick and Fred both join us here. GG guys.
GG's to Andy and Fouton.
GG.
Yeah, well played.
Yeah, I was going to mention one of the big turning points here was the dips in the pod. Rick went in first and found Hookshot, and that was a pretty big find. Unfortunately, he had to dip out, and when Fouton went in, I believe, he got that Hookshot, and then he also found the mirror. And that was a big turning point in this race.
Yeah, I really wish I was able to get that mirror in there the first time around. Haven't found out from Fred that it was there in the top of the maze, but no weapon at that point in time. I didn't feel comfortable with trying to hammer my way around or whatever the case was at that point. I forget exactly what, but it was something I wasn't exactly comfortable doing, and it was just unfortunate the fact that the mirror was there, because that helped out with the routing, how to get most amount of checks done at the right amount of time.
Yeah, because if you could have gone into TR in your first Death Mountain climb, then you would have gotten the flute much earlier, and obviously that would have changed the tempo of the whole race.
Yeah, just unfortunate, but It is what it is. Like, it was definitely going to be a match that we had to play at top tier, and I know my late game execution was kind of iffy with the unfortunate, what was it, 7-cycle ammo too? I lost count.
Well, at least you didn't run out of arrows. We were worried you might run out of arrows.
Yeah, I had to remind myself in Aga's Tower that, hey, you see that arrow count? You might want to grab some before you make your way into Misery Mire. But yeah, GG's to Andy, GG's to Fouton. It was going to be a tough match to face off against you two, and I'm just happy the fact that we kept it close.
Yeah, GG's.
So one thing I wanted to ask Rick and Fred about when they're routing is your Swamp Palace play. So we saw Fred go in first, skip left side in the big chest, and then Rick, you went back in and cleaned up. Was there any thought to just leave those checks behind and just push for GT?
Yeah, in the back of my mind was like, okay, do I full clear this or do I just go? And as I kept finding more nothing in there and Fred kept getting himself further ahead, it was going to be a case of the empty play wound up turning into that I was better off skipping it. But the counter to that was, had I made it to GT before Fred, or at the same time as Fred, we were going to split that up, where I was going to maybe do the right side, he was going to do left side, and with that sword being in the being in the fire snake room, it probably would have been a sword I would never have gotten. I would have had to do Master Sword Ganon.
Yeah, we were worried because you didn't really have a good chance to route in Graveyard Ledge after Fred found the tempered sword in there.
Yeah, it's one of those nuance places for that to be. It was unfortunate, but it is what it is.
The funny thing was... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you had a Master Sword when all three other runners were still on no sword.
Oh, jeez.
and the thing is at that point we had no idea how I was even supposed to have those swords, because we had no idea where the lamp was at that point.
Right. Andy and Fouton were discussing before you guys got in here that the bottles were all in just ridiculous locations.
Yeah, I mean, the most convenient bottle was what? The underneath the bridge in Skull?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or maybe
I did that without a sword
chest.
after Fouton had already gone in and found 0 items in Skullwoods, and at that point it was like either pod or Sick Kid was the answer, pretty much.
Maybe an ice rod cave.
Oh yeah. I apparently missed the memo that Fouton ran out of bombs on the way to Ice Rod Cave, so we never did that.
I saw chat giving Fouton grief after I had just finished up here waiting for the restream delay to catch up about them giving him grief about the lack of bomb for Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, he remembered like
I had 7
Ganon
going into
blowing
Mini
up.
Moldworm, and I ran out. And I couldn't farm one, and I was like,
I
we'll get that later.
I gave him a little bit of grief earlier too, because I said, there were 3 bombs sitting there right in Link's house he could have grabbed. Knowing it at 7, that makes it a little bit more relevant.
Yeah, I'd completely forgotten what Andy had found there. I assumed it was 20 rupees.
Now, as far as tomorrow night's concerned, could we maybe get a seed that doesn't have a double dip requirement of Turtle Rock?
Yes, please.
Double dip to Laser Bridge, no less.
Yeah. And then it was so funneled into that like, even if Rick had gotten that mirror, like, it's just, hey, are you gonna go into Turtle Rock? Because that's what everyone has to do anyways, to open up like 4 checks or 5 checks or something like that for something else. It's a very slow, like mid game of this seed. It was
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
funnel down on that, you say, okay, and that can kind of hurt. You want to have, especially for a co-op seed, an open seed where then, you can spread out and do everything. And, when you got that funnel, it's just chase everything back down. And then, one person probably gets a bit of a lead. And really, by the time there's catch up, it's like, okay, you could have split it up a bit more and you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially with like the way it was laid out with Mir and Hook in Pod and then Samaria in Village of Outcast, where you're splitting that up.
Yeah.
And then, Samaria's, not really that big of an item that early, but then, Turtle Rock is available, ends up being where you have to go eventually. So it just didn't work out well for whoever had to do Pod first.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Really wish that had led to something, or at least I'd be able to have at least some light source for that to get to that mirror, but oh well.
Speaking of tomorrow night, you guys are gonna do your second match tomorrow.
Yep, match tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yep, the only thing that's going to be different is that instead of Fred, it's going to be Sinak joining me.
And it'll be on Speed Gaming 2 instead of here on Speed Gaming.
Well, yeah, that too.
And the seed is going to be done 20 minutes sooner.
Please.
We hope.
We hope.
Watch this to be the epic triple dip of Meyer for some reason.
It's going to give us an early Aga seed, so we can't just combo it.
How could you? I'm trying to think. I guess
No, you
triple
can't.
dip
You
Meyer
can't. You can't.
You could triple dip.
No,
Meyer.
no, you could. You
It would
could.
have to be-
No fire source for something. And
Okay,
then
yep, I forgot the fire source
for
part. Yep.
something to lead to Samaria. Definitely something that can
That would be
happen.
cool, though, because that probably means an earlier flute, and I would love that.
This could be a double dip Janus Tower seed.
Oh God, no.
Why?
I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
I still remember the first time I saw one of those, flute in GT to go get, I think Red King, because you had to go right
Red
side
Cane
for
and Meyer.
Yeah. Yep.
It was the first weekly open race of like V23 or something like that.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
I had to miss it because I was on the road and I heard everyone just blow up about it. I'm like, dang, I'm really bummed that I missed that one.
I've actually had probably a worse one recently in a ladder race. I think I had Book in GT, Tower Room no less, to go get hook shot off the Bombos tablet.
That's brutal.
You win the prize,
But yeah,
and that prize is indigestion.
Yeah, that's always the fun thing about all dungeon seeds, that GT can very easily have progression.
And in this case, it did today because you had to climb the tower to get that quake.
Hey, I don't know if you guys saw the race earlier. It was a similar situation, only Turtle Rock instead of Meyer was the final pendant. Only the quake locking it was in GT Big Chest.
Ew.
I mean, in a situation where Turtle Rock's your last dungeon, the big GT Big Chest is better because you find the medallion for Turtle Rock in the top of GT. That's not a good decision you have to make. Do you mirror down right there to go do Turtle Rock, or do you finish GT and have to reclimb to get to Turtle Rock?
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. I want to think positive thoughts for tomorrow night.
Protons. Lots of protons.
Thank you, Fred.
Well, you guys can all rest up, and Fred can cheer you on from the sidelines, and
Or
should
laugh.
be a good race tomorrow.
Forward to watching it. Best of luck to all three of you. And to
Thank you.
Sinak, who of course is not in this conversation, but will be taking my place and hopefully giving us a slightly better time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how tomorrow night goes. Good luck to Andy. Good luck to Fouton. Thank you very much for the race, and GG's to both of you.
GG's.
Good luck. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, make sure to give our runners a follow. They put in a pretty good race for us today. Also, thanks again to our trackers. Actually, look at
Adalor and Iker.
I was on a different channel, so I had to look them up again. But
Yeah, but
looking ahead to
with
tomorrow,
4 runners, trackers are absolutely essential.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we kick off at 4:10 p.m. or 5:10 p.m. tomorrow Eastern. Our first race of the league day be between the Sexy Gannons and We Are the Imposters. It's Freddy and Yagamoth versus Ace Zero and Hitsuyan. That kicks off a day of 4 races tomorrow. And then Saturday is looking like a pretty big day where we're going to have action basically all afternoon and evening. I guess we're not fully sure on that one yet. We still have channels to be decided.
Yeah, it's actually...
Yeah, that's going to be a headache for me to figure out at some point in time. Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't know you were still here, Rick, but I was going to say that you mentioned that Saturday's so crowded. We're going to have a couple of the afternoon races actually moved to the ALTTPR League channels, so you should
sure
give
to
them a
follow
follow
them.
as well.
Yep. Also, shout outs to Solski's SMZ3 Invitational coming up this weekend.
And of course, a lot of this is leading up to SpeedGaming Live, which kicks off just 2 weeks from this Saturday now, and is going to have a whole host of games featured, including an 80-person ALTTPR tournament, and the league will in fact be going on hiatus that week.
We've got a lot of ALTTPR action coming up here. I mean, this is just week 1 of the league. We have so much more to go.
Yeah, and we're spreading out co-op weeks kind of over the course. So most of the weeks are just going to be regular 1v1. Next week, in fact, is going to be plain old 1v1 open mode. So starting Monday, your screens will be a lot less busy when you come in here.
I guess technically we won't have it this busy again until week 7. Well, week 4 is a co-op week. We only have to pay attention to one runner on each side for that week.
Yeah, but it's a fun mix of modes. That's the great thing about the league, that you get to see so many different modes over the course of it. But I'm realizing it's after midnight for those of us on the East Coast, so we should probably call it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great working with you, JP. It's been a while.
Yeah, good working with you again. Good to be back on comms here as the league starts up. Gonna be fun watching the season play out and doing some playing myself.
Yeah, good luck to your team.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching, and hope to see you around SpeedGaming and the ALTTPR League.
Have a good night, everybody.